You don't lose in the market, you lose in your mind.
This is Trained Mind Trading, the channel for traders who know what to do, but still don't do it. And here, you'll train your mind to finally change that.
So today we're unpacking a hidden behavioral trap that destroys, and I mean literally destroys, more trading accounts than bad strategies ever could. We're talking about impulse control. Look, if you've ever watched your hard-earned capital just evaporate because you physically couldn't sit still, well, consider this your practical guide to taking back control. All right, let's just dive right into it. You knew the rules, you had the plan, and yet you still clicked. Man, I want you to really feel that for a second. It is the ultimate frustration, isn't it? You probably told yourself, okay, just this one trade. But let's be real. It wasn't the setup, it wasn't the signal, it was an urge. That split second where you break your own rules, despite knowing better, that's exactly where traders lose everything. Not to the market, but to themselves.
So, Section 1, Your Brain on Trading, the Biological War.
To fix this, we really need a clinical diagnosis. Because impulsive trading isn't a lack of intelligence. It's a literal biological war happening right inside your head. We can essentially deconstruct your invisible enemies into two camps. On one side, we've got the prefrontal cortex. This is your rational mind, right? It handles discipline, planning, following your systems, thinking, and probabilities. But on the flip side, you have the limbic system. This is the fast, reactive, purely emotional mind driving fear, greed, and this crazy, overwhelming sense of urgency. When you lose impulse control, your limbic system is literally hijacking and overriding your prefrontal cortex.
And the chemical culprit behind this hijacking? Dopamine. Now, most people think dopamine is the reward you get after you win a trade. Not true. Actually, scratch that. Dopamine spikes before you even enter the trade. When the market starts moving fast, your brain just floods with dopamine in pure anticipation. It creates this craving, a massive rush. It turns a perceived opportunity into a straight-up addictive urge. You aren't seeing an edge anymore. You're feeling an addiction. Which brings us to operant conditioning. Financial markets are designed exactly like casinos. They offer unpredictable, completely random rewards. Sometimes you click a button and make a bunch of money. Sometimes you lose. But this variable reward system, it forms the absolute strongest type of habit formation known to human psychology. You end up clicking buy or sell just to feel something, even without an edge at all. You might even start to feel actual physical discomfort when you're not trading. It's wild.
Section 2, The Impulse Loop, a step-by-step trap.
Let's break down exactly how this plays out in real time with this 6-step cycle. Step 1, a market opportunity appears. Maybe it's real, or maybe you just entirely imagined it. Step 2, an emotional trigger like FOMO activates. Step 3, dopamine floods your system, creating this massive urgency to do something right now. Step 4, your rational brain briefly tries to resist, whispering, hey, wait a second. But then, step 5, the emotional brain just screams now, completely overriding your logic, and bam, you take the impulsive trade. Finally, step 6, you get a split second of short-term relief, which is immediately followed by long-term regret. And the worst part? This loop reinforces itself every single time you give in.
Now, if you're wondering if you're stuck in this loop, ask yourself a few questions. Are you trading outside your plan? Entering trades way too early? Revenge trading after a tough loss? What about moving your stop loss based purely on emotion, or finding yourself just completely unable to sit still? Look, if you're nodding your head right now, please know there is absolutely no shame here. We are dealing with deeply ingrained behavioral addiction patterns, not a broken trading strategy.
Section 3, Training Control, Practical Framework.
Okay, this is the most important part of this explainer. We are pivoting from the problem to the highly practical solution. Because you don't need a new indicator, you need behavioral conditioning. First up is the pause protocol, and I really want you to take this to heart. Force a 10 to 30 second pause before every single trade. I'm intentionally slowing down my voice right now because this is exactly what you need to do when the market is screaming at you. You just have to wait. That 10 to 30 second window, it gives your prefrontal cortex the exact amount of time it needs to boot back up and snatch control back from the emotional brain.
So, during that 30-second pause, you absolutely must ask yourself two logic-restoring questions. Is this actually in my system? And would I take this trade if I were perfectly calm? If the answer to either of those is no, you take your hand completely off the mouse.
Now, to make sure you can actually execute that pause, we use the pre-commitment strategy.
This is a real game changer. It means you decide your maximum trades, your valid setups, and your exact risk before the session even opens. You are entirely eliminating decision-making during the emotional heat of the market. You do not decide in the moment, you simply execute what you pre-committed to. Absolutely no exceptions. And to back up those pre-commitments, you've got to build friction. You have to make it physically harder to act impulsively. Go into your broker settings right now and turn off one-click trading. Seriously, force yourself to use a physical, printed-out pre-entry checklist. Require a manual confirmation pop-up before the order actually goes through. Adding this mechanical friction stops the automatic dopamine loop dead in its tracks, basically because it physically forces your brain to slow down.
We also need to arm your mind with a super powerful tool from cognitive behavioral therapy, which is emotional awareness. When you feel that intense urge to click, label it out loud. Literally say, "This is FOMO," or "This is revenge," or "This is pure greed." The exact moment you name the emotion out loud, you instantly reduce its intensity and strip away its limbic power. You've got to name it to tame it.
Next up, we automate your discipline using the if-then mental model. You pre-program your reactions before you ever even sit down at your screens. Like, if I feel an urge to trade immediately after a loss, then I close my laptop and stop trading for the day. Or if I miss a perfect setup, then I do absolutely nothing. See how that works? This mental model automates your discipline for when the emotional brain inevitably attacks.
Section 4, Amateurs react, professionals wait. Let's look at how all this builds a completely new paradigm, because this is the shift you absolutely must make to survive in this game. You know, there's this massive misconception out there that professional traders are just emotionless robots. That's entirely false. Pros feel the exact same fear, greed, and dopamine urgency that you do. The difference? The amateur trader acts on the emotion and then thinks about it later, usually filled with regret. The professional trader feels the emotion, pauses, thinks, relies on their pre-commitments, and then acts. Or they consciously choose not to act at all.
I really want you to burn this next phrase into your memory. The market doesn't punish your strategy, it punishes your lack of control. Think about it. You could have the absolute greatest charting techniques in the world, but if you can't delay immediate emotional action in favor of a planned, rational decision, literally none of it matters. Behavioral control is your only true lasting edge.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this final thought. Are you actually fighting the market, or are you really just fighting your own impulses? Honestly, think about that before your next session. Your goal starting tomorrow isn't to go out and find a better setup, it's to build your behavioral system. Install your pause, map out your pre-commitments, and take back control of your brain. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, guys. Now get out there and execute with discipline.
That's one more pattern. Named, understood, and now in your hands. Becoming a profitable trader isn't about the next setup. It's about becoming the person who can follow it. Subscribe for your regular bite of wisdom. Train the mind, the trades will follow.